My name is Cayley. I am a Witness Youth for Christ worker working out of Warrington, and today we're going to talk about innovation. What is it? Why do we need it? Are we using it? Now, innovation is a major catchphrase in youth work. We all want to be innovative. In fact, one of Youth for Christ's key values is actually innovation. We even got a handy little picture. We're going to start with what is innovation. Google told me that it is to make changes to something that is established, especially by introducing new methods, ideas, or products. Now, I've always wondered what new methods, ideas, and products you can add to youth ministry, especially since it's been going for forever. If we think that the disciples were most likely teenagers, that means that Jesus was doing youth work. Samuel was a kid. He was brought up in the temple. So Eli, doing youth work. So if we're looking thousands of years back, how are we going to introduce something new? What are we going to change? I'm not going to bring kids up in a temple. There's a key difference. But what else can we be doing as youth workers to be innovative? And why is it so important that we are innovative? One of the reasons that we find it so important to be innovative is because even if you look within the last 25 years, there have been so many cultural shifts that if you tried to count them, you probably actually wouldn't be able to. Now, the youth that I'm working with have grown up with internet. That's already different to my experiences. So how does that make the youth work I'm doing for them different to the youth work that was done for me? Because the things they're dealing with are completely different to the things I'm dealing with. So obviously, we need to do something differently. We need to be looking at youth work in an entirely different framework. It's a different culture. But at the same time, when I look at innovation and I talk about culture and changing culture, you've got to remember that we as Christians are called to be countercultural. We don't follow trends, we don't set trends, we have our own. We are Christians, we're in the world, we're not of the world. So I'm going to take you to the same passage that they took us to at Soul Survivor, because I feel like it's a really good one. And it's the passage where Jesus tells his disciples, cast your nets out on the other side. In John 21, John writes about Jesus telling the disciples, cast your nets on the other side. He was talking about deeper waters. And he's talking to his disciples who have been out fishing the whole night. So after catching nothing, they're ready to come in. And Jesus comes out and he says, cast your nets on the other side. And they're like, okay. And I think a part of them went, we're going to look like total idiots. He's telling us to do this again. We've been doing it the whole night. Why are we doing it again? And they have to take this risk of looking like fools, following someone's instructions just because he said it. So what are the deeper waters of our culture? Where are the places that God is telling us to go where we're like, we've done this already, we know what we're doing, and he says, cast out your nets in the deeper water. Put your nets on the other side. One of the big innovations that I've used recently is we've moved our Fresh Club, our after school club, from in a church into a park. What it means is that while we're sitting studying the Bible, kids' friends walk past and go, oh, why are my friends sitting with an adult in the park? What are they doing? And they all come over and they all want to know about it. And one of my favorite moments was when one of the friends came over, and one of the girls who was sitting with us, when she was asked, what are you doing here? What is Fresh? She just said, this is a safe place for us to come and hang out. And I was just so moved. This is a girl who has been struggling a lot with being bullied. She doesn't want to go into the park because she thinks that she's going to be verbally and potentially physically harassed by some of the other kids hanging out there. And she's saying, I don't mind coming into the park because this is our safe space. Now I want to talk a little bit as well about who is guiding our innovation. The primary place we need to be going is to God. At the end of the day, he sets the culture. We can't say anything has been set in motion in this world by anyone other than God. And then you have to ask, are we making space to listen to God and listen to what he's saying about how we can be innovative. It's so important that we don't get a savior complex and go, oh, I've done this program, I've done this new thing, I'm so amazing. But we go, God's told me to do this, and you know what, it's deeper waters. I might look like a fool, I might sink, I might fail miserably, but I believe God with authority has told me to do that, so I'm going to go into that culture. I'm going to see if I can meet that specific need, as scary as that may be. At the end of the day, our framework for everything we do is very clear. It's all been set out in the Bible. And we need to sit down, spend some time in God's Word, and really go, what do these kids need? What they need more than anything else is a relationship with God. And isn't that one of the most innovative things there is? If God gives us a new life, if He starts something completely new in us, surely that is the ultimate innovation. But it's an innovation set up by God. We need to be innovative to an extent, but we need to trust God to do a complete overhaul of people. Take out the gospel and let God do the work that He's already started.